Hello and welcome to all the men and women of the West. I'm Joe. Today I've got a bit of a treat for you guys. Now, this was brought to my attention by Dragonlance Nexus, so huge shout out to them. I was originally going to do an Austinus video, getting into the metaphysics and into the nature of Austinus, but that'll be for next week. So let's get into this. Now, this article mostly gets into the history of the wicked forces of the Wizards of the Coast versus Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weiss. So, without further ado, let's go. They have the first preview of the first few pages of Dragons of Deceit. Now, when the time comes for the book to come out, I am not going to do any read-throughs on the channel. You guys are going to have to buy the book yourselves. Sorry, I don't want to get really smacked down, but I will do a reading of this text, just as a precursor. Destina joined her father and mother in the solar after the midday meal. The solar was the most pleasant room in the castle, for the afternoon sun shone through the numerous windows, lighting it and filling it with warmth. Atieno was in particularly good spirits. Among her people, a girl attained womanhood at the age of 15. Grigori joined them, bearing a wooden box containing his gift. He grew more cheerful, as he always did when he was in his wife's presence. He kissed her and wished her joy of the day. She had given him his daughter, his happiness. "What is my gift, Mamma?" Destina asked. Atieno presented Destina with a golden chain. "Gold for the sun, for the sheaf of wheat, for the leaves in autumn," said Atieno. "Gold for the goddess of the yellow star." Likely Mishakal. Destina was not to be lured into more discussions of gods that did not exist. She hung the chain around her neck and thanked her mother. Wow. That was very nice of her to think that. I'm just kidding. Grigori presented his daughter with his gift, a silver chalice decorated with a kingfisher motif. The kingfisher bird, with its bright blue sky and orange fire plumage, had been chosen as the mascot for the Knights by Vinus Solamnus, their founder. The kingfisher symbolized courage and hope, for it was said that on the day of the creation of the world, the bold kingfisher was the first bird who dared to take flight. "For your hope chest, daughter," said Gregory. "Papa, thank you. This is beautiful." Destina flung her arms around her father's neck and kissed him. Grigori embraced her and then poured wine for himself and his wife to celebrate. And of course we have this glorious map of Ansalon. I love this map. I should save this. Yeah, I'm going to save it right there. Honestly, I'm going to use this for a future video or something. Oh man, the map has never looked better. "Please, Papa, just a little for me and my chalice," Destina begged. "After all, Mamma says that I'm a woman today." She held out the chalice, and Grigori poured several swallows of red wine from the pitcher into the cup. The couple drank a toast to their daughter. Destina replied with thanks to her parents for giving her life and sipped the wine, admiring the chalice as she did so, turning it around and around in her hand. When she had finished, she handed the cup to her mother. "You must tell my future in the dregs, Mamma," Destina said. Atieno gazed into the chalice where the lees had sunk to the bottom. "What do you see, Mamma?" Destina asked. To her astonishment, Atieno gave a cry of horror and flung the chalice away from her. The silver cup hit the stone floor with a resounding clang and rolled beneath a chest. Atieno made a warning gesture with her hand and muttered a few words that Destina did not understand, and presumed were what her mother termed magic. Atieno then jumped from her chair and ran from the room. Wow. Like, Good thing her daughter drank wine, not beer. I mean, what might have happened? Grigori stared after her in concern. What is wrong with your mother? What did she say? Seems Mama saw a bad omen in the dregs, and I believe she spoke a magic charm to ward off evil. What was the omen about? I couldn't really understand her, said Destina. I will go speak to her. She went in search of her mother and found Atieno at the window in her bedchamber, gazing out at the bright blue sky above and burnished orange leaves below. Come look at the lovely colors, Destina. They are the colors of the kingfisher, blue above and orange beneath. Destina was not interested in kingfishers or the colors of autumn. The measure prohibited the belief in omens and portents, and Destina tried to obey, but she had so many questions, and not one of the 37 volumes of the measure could answer them. Okay, just once, I would love it if they could write all 37 volumes of the measure. That'd be great. I'd love to read that. Atieno continued to gaze out the window. Destina saw tears on her mother's cheeks, and she grew even more frightened. Destina had never in her life seen her mother cry. Mama, what did you see in the dregs? Destina demanded. How can we face what is coming? Atieno asked. There's a typo there. How can we bear it? She turned to face Destina and said softly, My poor child. Destina took refuge in the measure. Mama, remember what the measure says. Paladin forges the sword, but man chooses how to wield it. That means each person is responsible for what he or she does in this life. The measure also warns, trust not the soothsayer, for his words are lies to snare the unwary. And my people say, the wolf is born to kill, the sheep is born to be killed, Atieno said, fixing her with shimmering dark eyes. Mama, please tell me what you saw in the chalice, Destina said desperately. Bring the chalice to me, said Atieno. I will show you. Destina hurried to the solar to fetch the chalice. She had to get down on her hands and knees to retrieve it from beneath a chest. She returned to her mother and held it out to her. Atieno recoiled, refusing to touch it. Look into it, daughter, and tell me what you see. Mother, you know I never see anything except dregs, Destina protested. If you see, look, Atieno insisted. Destina sighed and peered into the cup, and this time she saw that the dregs had formed a recognizable pattern. She laughed and said, before she fought, Isn't that funny, Mama? The leaves are in the shape of a dragon. See, here's the tail and the head and the wings. She heard a strangled gasp and looked up at her mother. The blood had drained from Atieno's face and lips, leaving her brown skin gray and leaden. You saw the dragon, the same omen. I hoped I might be wrong. But you confirm it. Mama, you are frightening me, said Destina. I saw the shape of a dragon. These are nothing but leaves. The dregs, dead yeast. Here, I will show you. She dipped her index finger into the chalice and ran around the inside. The dragon disappeared, staining her finger red. Destina lifted her finger to show her mother. There, mother, you need not worry. The dead yeast is gone, and so is the dragon. Tiana stared in horror at the red blotch on Destina's finger. Then she sank into a chair, looking so ill that Destina shouted for her father. Yeah. Maybe this is what she saw. I'm joking. Well, it's so-so. Not gonna lie. It does not impress me the way some opening chapters in Wace and Hickman's career does, such as Soulforge or the Legends trilogies intros each start. Even the Chronicles have really, in Lost Chronicles, have really good intros, but they have to introduce Destina, so that much is important. Likely, if Destina's half black, she probably comes from the plains of Dust. Like her mom, I mean. Or, I don't know, like, it's clearly not, she can't come from Solamnia. She says, my people. So it has to be somewhere else. It could be also from parts of Urgoth. Because I always thought Urgoth had kind of some, like, I know that there's supposed to be a bit of a, in a lot of corners, not Hispanic, a bit of a Caucasian empire, but there are mentions of dusky skin with some figures which suggest either black, Middle Eastern, or Hispanic. So Urgoth's a bit of a diverse empire ethnically, although culturally not very diverse. And this cultural homogeneity is to their advantage, but ethnically, I think Urgoth's one of the more diverse countries. Make of that what you will. Plains of Dust, I just tend to think, well, it would fit. Plains of Dust would fit for an area where, I don't know, like, you have to bear in mind the kind of equator, northern hemisphere kind of division or something. Like, I'm just trying to make it make sense, because it can make sense. There is a way to make it work, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure Weiss and Hickman will pull it off. They've generally been pretty good. Then again, it might also be from some of the former Istar areas, because Istar was importing a lot of slaves from all around the world of Krynn. So maybe they imported an entire tribe and they just ended up like here or something, and you know, because like the movement of entire demographics of people historically has happened. If you look at, well, the African slave trade, both on the eastern coast under the Arabic empires, and on the western coast with the white empires of Britain and France and whatnot. Although Britain then put an end to it around the year 1800. Kudos to them for that. But you also have the huge demographic shifts during the conquest of Genghis Khan, which, let's not even get into all the demographic changes and shipping of people around that empire. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments section. And you know what? Does this whet your appetite? I have to admit, I am looking forward to getting my copy that I pre-ordered. I am looking forward to it. I hope we get plenty of Sturm and Raceland and Tanis and Gilthanas. They're my favorite characters. So I hope we get plenty of those guys, because they're the best. And until next time, take care. And don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button, like your... let's go with Sturm. Let's go with Theoros this time, smashing and forging the Dragonlances into shape.